When scientists sent an underwater drone nearly 5 kilometers deep to the wreck of the Bismarck, they expected answers. Instead, they found twisted steel, compressed decks, and haunting silence. What the drone captured beneath the Atlantic wasn't just wreckage. It was evidence of something far more terrifying than history remembered. Descent into the deep grave. The mighty German battleship Bismarck, launched on the 14th of February 1939 and commissioned in August 1940, was built to challenge and dismantle British naval supremacy. Her moment came in May 1941 during Operation Rheinübung, where she famously destroyed HMS Hood in a short but devastating battle. Yet just days later, she was hunted down and sunk by the British Royal Navy in one of the most intense naval pursuits in modern history. For decades, her final resting place remained a mystery. The coordinates recorded during the war were only approximate, and with nearly 5 kilometers of Atlantic Ocean above it, the wreck stayed hidden until 1989, when famed oceanographer Robert Ballard discovered her at a depth of approximately 4,791 meters, upright, embedded on the flank of an extinct underwater volcano. Now, a new era of exploration has begun. Equipped with state-of-the-art underwater drones, scientists have returned to the Bismarck's grave with one goal: to go deeper, stay longer, and capture more detail than ever before. Unlike the Argo sled used in the 1980s, these modern ROVs and AUVs can enter the ship's remains, illuminate forgotten compartments, and scan structural damage in ultra-high definition. This mission isn't just about naval history, it's about unlocking secrets buried in the cold blackness, revealing how this war machine met its fate and what her twisted metal carcass still hides.
Discovery of the wreck, revisiting the evidence.
When the wreck of the Bismarck was first located in June 1989, it was a triumph of deep-sea archaeology. The ship, resting on its keel with the bow pointed upslope, showed a level of preservation that stunned researchers. The cold, still depths, almost 5,000 meters down, had shielded it from strong currents and human interference for decades. The original discovery team used Argo, a towed camera sled that floated about 50 meters above the seafloor, beaming grainy video and sonar images to the surface. What they found was both illuminating and confusing. The central citadel of the ship remained remarkably intact. The stern, however, was completely missing, detached either by the final descent or a structural collapse during the battle. The location of the wreck, sitting quietly on the side of a volcanic slope, explained part of the preservation. The ship hadn't slammed into a flat abyss. It had slid down a gentle incline, which helped cushion its fall. Yet many questions remained unanswered. Was the Bismarck destroyed purely by British firepower? Or was she scuttled by her own crew to prevent capture? With new technology, the current mission aims to answer these haunting questions. The drone-mounted cameras now penetrate the inner halls of the ship. They capture footage of collapsed passageways, sealed chambers, and structural deformities that early explorers could only guess at. The data doesn't just retell the story, it rewrites it, challenging long-held beliefs about the ship's final moments. Each image, each scan brings us closer to the truth, closer to understanding one of the most mysterious naval sinkings of the 20th century. Underwater drone enters. What they see terrifies. Yeah. The 2019 to 2020 drone missions sent to the Bismarck's resting place marked a turning point. These were not simple camera sleds or grainy sonar surveys. This time, engineers deployed autonomous underwater vehicles, AUVs, and remotely operated vehicles, or ROVs, fitted with Ultra HD cameras, sonar imaging, and high-lumen lights capable of piercing the inky darkness bending nearly 5 kilometers below the surface. What they recorded shocked even the most seasoned marine researchers. Inside the ship's twisted corridors, the camera revealed warped metal decks compressed by 3 to 4 meters, with bulkheads collapsed inward, as though crushed under immense internal force. Gun turrets, once symbols of naval power, lay crooked, melted, and blackened from fire. The bridge and command deck, once the nerve center of Germany's greatest warship, was now a shredded carcass, riddled with shell holes and warped beams. Some compartments were so distorted they no longer resembled rooms, but imploded pockets of wreckage. Outside, the debris field told its own tale. Over an area roughly 3 by 5 kilometers, the seafloor was littered with anchor chains, twisted hull plating, secondary armaments, and even personal gear, a haunting reminder of the human lives aboard. Objects were torn from the ship and dragged down the slope as the stern broke off. The drone's ability to hover, scan, and map allowed investigators to construct a full 3D visualization of the wreck for the first time. But it was not just the damage that unsettled them. It was the nature of it. The violence of the Bismarck's end was far greater than previously believed. As one mission leader commented, this wasn't just a sinking, it was a violent, brutal unmaking. And yet, despite this destruction, the armor belt remained largely intact, which brought scientists to their next, even stranger finding. Armor belt still intact. The big puzzle.
One of the most chilling revelations from the drone footage was not what was broken, but what wasn't.
The Bismarck's armor belt, nearly 320 millimeters thick, was designed to repel even the most powerful naval shells. And it did. The drone's high-resolution imaging confirmed that only 8 holes were present above the waterline, 7 on the port side, 1 on starboard. Below the waterline, practically nothing. The main belt, which protected the ship's vital machinery, engine rooms, and ammunition magazines, remained unbreached. This discovery shook the assumptions held since 1941. The common narrative claimed the Royal Navy's relentless bombardment and torpedo attacks were enough to sink the Bismarck outright. But now researchers had to ask, if the armored citadel wasn't compromised from the outside, how did the ship flood so rapidly? The drones offered clues. Internal damage was severe. Bulkheads inside the armored core were warped, suggesting flooding from within. This pointed to either an extraordinary internal failure or deliberate scuttling. Survivors had long claimed that charges were set and valves opened to flood the ship once it was clear the Bismarck could no longer fight. These findings didn't negate the massive firepower brought by HMS Rodney, King George V, and others, but they did complicate the picture. The evidence now pointed to a dual cause: devastating external damage paired with internal sabotage by the crew to ensure their ship would not be captured. It's a chilling thought. The most heavily armored warship of its era may have been physically unkillable from the outside, yet it was brought down from within. Scuttling versus battle damage. The death sentence. By May 27, 1941, the Bismarck was surrounded, crippled by a torpedo hit from a swordfish plane that jammed her rudders the day before. She was left circling helplessly, unable to steer. At dawn, the British battleships HMS Rodney and HMS King George V opened fire, joined by cruisers Norfolk and Dorsetshire. What followed was a barrage of over 700 large-caliber shells, many striking the Bismarck from close range. On paper, the numbers suggest the Bismarck never stood a chance. Yet the underwater drone footage tells a more complex story. Though the superstructure was utterly annihilated, with turrets toppled and deck levels compressed, the main armored citadel showed little external breach. That's where the survivor testimonies come in. Men like Gerhard Unach, the chief engineering officer, who later revealed that scuttling orders were issued. Demolition charges were set. Watertight doors were open. The goal? Ensure the Bismarck sank on German terms, not as a trophy towed into enemy hands. The drones reinforced these accounts. Internal compartments showed signs of controlled flooding, with valves and interior passageways blown open. This internal collapse matches what engineers would expect from a deliberate effort to sink the ship from within. Still, some historians argue that the Bismarck would have sunk regardless. The shelling had destroyed its ability to function. Fires raged across the decks. Communications and steering were gone. But would she have sunk quickly within minutes without scuttling? That's the question. Thanks to the drone's imaging of warped internal decks and the pattern of internal breaches, many now believe the scuttling efforts accelerated the inevitable. The Bismarck might have floated for hours or even a day, but she was doomed either way. What the crew did was choose the timing and the dignity of her end. In the cold logic of naval warfare, This blend of external destruction and internal sabotage created a perfect storm. A warship that refused to die easily, but whose final breath came from within. The stern is gone, clues in the missing tail. Perhaps the most visually dramatic feature of the Bismarck wreck is what's not there. The entire stern section is missing. The underwater drone sonar mapping shows that the Bismarck's hull lies upright on the flank of an extinct undersea volcano at a depth of about 4,791 meters. But several hundred meters downhill, a trail of debris leads to what remains of the ship's stern, broken off, torn apart, scattered across the seafloor. This wasn't the result of British shellfire. Instead, scientists believe the detachment occurred during the final descent. When the Bismarck plunged into the abyss, it likely hit the sea floor tail first. The force of that impact, combined with the structural vulnerabilities in the machinery-heavy stern, caused it to shear off violently. Drone cameras recorded collapsed deck layers, displaced boiler rooms, and massive fractures in the internal framing. These aren't the marks of explosives, they're signs of kinetic trauma, of a warship hurtling downward, striking solid rock, and being torn apart by its own weight. The missing stern also supports survivor accounts of progressive flooding. As water rushed in through torpedo damage and internal openings, the stern would have filled first, dragging the ship down faster and at an angle. What's eerie is how clean the break is. It suggests the ship's structure gave way not randomly, but at stress points, meaning the design itself played a role in how she died. This piece of wreckage, absent from the main hull, isn't just a technical curiosity. It's a forensic clue showing the combined forces of gravity, design, and impact that sealed the Bismarck's fate. And it underscores what the drones revealed again and again. The story of the Bismarck is not a single cause, but a chain of destruction. Layered, violent, and deeply human. Wreck environment. What the drone captured beyond the ship. The world 5 kilometers beneath the North Atlantic is more alien than familiar. The Bismarck lies in an environment where pressure exceeds 7,000 psi, temperatures hover near freezing, and sunlight hasn't touched the seafloor in over 80 years. This abyss, nearly 300 nautical miles west of Brest, France, became a time capsule, not just of a ship, but of an era. The underwater drone captured stunning high-resolution imagery, not just of the wreck, but its surroundings. The ship rests on the flank of an extinct undersea volcano, angled slightly bow up, preserved eerily well by the stable deep-sea conditions. The volcano's slope slowed the final impact, allowing the ship to settle without being crushed entirely. One of the most striking observations was the lack of biological colonization. While Pacific wrecks are often encrusted with life, the Bismarck's depth limits such growth. What marine life exists here, small, shrimp-like amphipods, bioluminescent worms, move slowly and sparsely. This has helped preserve structural features like gun turrets, anchor chains, and even railing sections, giving historians an unspoiled look at World War II-era engineering. Sonar scans revealed sediment scouring marks, likely caused by the ship's final slide down the volcanic slope. These patterns help map the debris field, which stretches over 3 by 5 kilometers and includes twisted steel, smaller weapons, and personal artifacts. This dive wasn't just about observing a wreck. It was about learning how objects decay, survive, and shift under extreme geological and environmental stress. Every rusted plate, every scoured contour on the ocean floor adds to our understanding of what happens when human industry meets the crushing silence of the abyss. And as the drone pulled back, the full scale of the wreck and its resting place became clear. A relic of war lying cold and silent, cradled in volcanic rock, untouched by time, until now. Technology and method, the drone revolution. The 2024 drone mission to the Bismarck used technology that would have been science fiction in 1989. Today's remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, and autonomous underwater vehicles, or AUVs, are equipped with ultra-high-definition cameras, laser scanners, 3D sonar, robotic arms, and internal mapping sensors. These tools don't just observe, they reconstruct. The ROV deployed for the Bismarck mission could hover precisely, enter collapsed compartments, and illuminate spaces darker than any night on Earth. Its sensor suite captured not only visuals, but pressure changes, chemical composition, and magnetic anomalies, turning a simple dive into a full forensic investigation. The vessel supporting the dive, equipped with Kongsberg EM124 multi-beam sonar, produced bathymetric maps with centimeter-scale resolution. These allowed mission planners to pre-chart drone paths, avoid fragile areas, and maximize every hour underwater. Once inside the wreck, drones use photogrammetry, stitching thousands of overlapping images into a 3D model. This allowed historians and naval architects to virtually walk through the interior spaces of the Bismarck, analyzing damage to boiler rooms, turret shafts, and even crew compartments. The data isn't just for documentation. Naval engineers can now simulate the ship's final minutes using structural deformation models. Every crumpled bulkhead, every torqued beam helps reconstruct how the Bismarck succumbed to internal flooding, battle trauma, and eventual collapse. What once took divers months of dangerous work now takes hours, without risking a single life. These drones are not just tools, they're time machines, guiding us deeper into forgotten chapters of history. Why it terrifies, implications beyond history. The drone footage of the Bismarck, resting 4,791 meters beneath the Atlantic, is more than stunning. It's unsettling. Once a symbol of German naval power, the battleship is now a twisted, crushed husk. Seeing gun turrets blasted open, steel curled, and compartments flattened makes the brutality of war painfully real. Over 700 shells struck her, but it's the aftermath that chills the viewer. Beyond the destruction lies the human tragedy. Of the 2,200 crew, only 114 survived. The cameras passed silent bunks, helmets, and boots, a grave untouched by time. As technology improves, we must ask, are we documenting or disturbing? This wreck is more than metal. It's a lesson in warfare, in engineering, and in loss. And it reminds us, some memories, once uncovered, don't just inform, they terrify. The final reflection, what we learn, what remains unknown. Today, thanks to the work of deep-sea drones, oceanographers, and historians, we understand more about the Bismarck than ever before. We know she went down after a brutal exchange in the Atlantic, hunted, crippled, and finally scuttled by her own crew to avoid capture. The drone confirmed it all: extensive battle damage, compressed decks, intact armor, and the missing stern. But it also raised questions. We still don't know exactly how quickly she sank or in what order compartments flooded. We don't know what lies sealed inside certain parts of the wreck, too crushed or unstable for even robotic entry. Artifacts, logs, even human remains could still rest undisturbed in pressurized silence. The full story may never surface. What this mission does confirm is how far we've come. Deep-sea exploration is no longer the domain of legends and luck. It is precision forensics, capable of rewriting the past in pixels and scans. We've entered a new era of underwater archaeology, one where warships become case studies, not just myths. And yet, with all this knowledge comes a deeper reverence. As we send machines to peer into wrecks like Bismarck, we're not just unearthing history, we're disturbing tombs. The balance between learning and honoring is delicate. Every new dive must ask, are we documenting or are we trespassing? Because in the abyss, history isn't buried. It's waiting, silent, preserved, and still capable of terrifying those who dare to look. What lies beneath Bismarck isn't just wreckage. It's a warning, frozen in time, still echoing across the ocean floor.